So if you're starting on B site, typically at the start of the round, I'd shoot a deep arrow into B fountain. This arrow will land on the billboard, and it usually catches most people off guard. And if they start to catch on, I would just do a variation down here. Same arrow, it'll land on the back of the rocks there, so they would have to do a complete 180 to shoot this arrow. So, and that arrow is pretty good if you know they're pushing down long. Just something to do some damage. So if you know they've taken control of B long or by teleporter, this is a good arrow. Really quick, just a simple tap. You can also try to use a shock dart to dish out some damage. Another variation on this one is, if you know they're getting orb, this arrow will typically land around that area. I typically use a shock dart and does roughly about like 70 to 90 damage, depending on where they're standing. Now, if this is an arrow for short, I typically use this at the start of the round too.
There they are.
This is a variation if they start to catch on. This arrow will land deep into market, so
Revealing area.
generally catches a few guys.
Found them.
For this arrow, if you're pinned to sight and you don't want to peek hookah or octagon, I typically use this arrow to get some info.
Found them.
Another variation on if you want to get info on long, I'd use this orb. I mean this arrow
Revealing area.
to show orb.
Found them.
It's pretty good. Typically this is smoked off, so I just use a shock dart. It should land on most people standing there.
Shot. Scanning ahead.
Right now for retake, this is a good arrow on the side of the wall. Should show
There they are.
a lot of info actually. But that's typically smoked off, so I
Scanning
I
ahead.
would typically use this one too.
There they
Doesn't show
are.
as much, but it's still not bad. Now if you're playing elbow and they wall you off or smoke you off, this is a good arrow to
Revealing
use.
area. There they are.
Another one if you're playing tube and they're executing on sight.
Scanning ahead. Found them.
Now if you're starting on A site, this is a good arrow to shoot deep into showers or the back of showers.
Revealing area. Found them.
This one's good
Scanning
if you
ahead.
know they're in showers.
Found them.
I typically don't like to peek, so I'll just do a quick jumping shot. This one's pretty straightforward. Shoot straight to short.
Revealing area. There they are.
Most people tend to cover this one, so I like to use a variation.
Scanning
This will
ahead.
land on the left side of short, so
There they
it's
are.
probably an arrow that most people don't expect. Now if they're executing onto A site and they're coming through short, this is a good arrow. It should land by the double stack right there. And if you know they're camping there, you can use a shock dart, do some damage. It does about like 90 if they're standing exactly there. Now for retake, if I'm coming to a sight, I typically just use a quick arrow here. Doesn't have to be perfect, as long as it lands into a sight.
There they are.
Really on the fly, to be honest. Another one if you want to go through a heaven. This is a good one to use.
Revealing area.
Pretty safe, you don't really have to peek any angles or whatnot. Now, for whatever reason, if they don't smoke off heaven here, you could just shoot an arrow onto the solar panel here.
Revealing area.
And this literally shows everything. Now, if you're going through pipes and you know they're planting truck, I'd aim for this painting here and just bounce it off the triple there.
There they are.
But sometimes, or most times, they would wall it off with sage. So, again, I'd shoot the solar panel here. You want to make sure you hit the bottom edge of this solar panel. If you like aim a little too high, the dart will land in like a weird angle, so you won't see anybody.
There they are.
We're coming. So for this one, this is a good quick hookah arrow.
Revealing area.
That's if your team is just rushing hookah. This will cover the left side. It should help eliminate the 50-50 factor of hookah. This one is a sight arrow. It should land on the top of tube.
Revealing area.
This is good to shoot because it has a lot of airtime. So you could push down long with your team. By the time you get through OCTAGON, it should land. That's a sight. Now, if you know they're playing OCTAGON, this is a good one too.
Revealing area. Found them.
For this one, I aim for this for cubby.
Scanning ahead.
It should show whoever's inside a tube and cubby and backside for that matter. It's good for figuring out who's on site. So for this one, if you want to shoot the CT,
Scanning ahead.
there's a spot here that's wall bangable. So this is from the enemy perspective. Just don't stand by the display case if you don't get wall banged.
Revealing area.
So this arrow is good at establishing control in showers.
Revealing area.
I typically use this to farm orb.
Found them.
This one is a nice sight arrow if you're playing from showers.
Revealing area.
Should get most people backside and by benches and pocket. Now if you're coming from short, this is a good arrow to shoot onto the solar panel. It will reveal most people on site. However,
Found them.
it is pretty risky if it's not smoked off, because then they could just shoot you. They will see you. This is a much safer one. You shoot it onto heaven,
Revealing area.
and it will reveal most people back
There
sight.
they are.
Now, if you know if someone's playing U-Haul, I don't typically use a recon dart.
Scanning ahead.
I would use a shock dart here.
There they
So I'd use a shock dart to shoot at the front of U-Haul. That'll force them to run back into U-Haul. So I'll shoot a deeper arrow, just aim a little up more, and it should hit the inside of U-Haul.
Any angle.
So yeah, I think these are the most practical arrows to use on binds. They're meant to be used on the fly, so you don't want to be spending too much time away from your team, you know, looking for specific lineups and corners to be shooting these arrows. So yeah, thanks for watching.